We are, of course, coming off of a sunny summer weekend in the Northeast, so it's as good a time as any to note a new report from the American Cancer Society from earlier this year, reminding us that skin cancer remains the most commonly diagnosed cancer in the United States. Soaking up those rays comes with some serious risks, and that is tonight's By the Numbers. It's estimated that more than 200,000 new cases of melanoma will be diagnosed in the U.S. this year. Melanoma, being the deadliest form of skin cancer, will affect about 1 in 33 white people in their lifetime. Rates are much lower for people with darker skin. Still, people with darker skin should also be applying that sunscreen. Melanoma is often diagnosed much later in people with dark skin. 22% of melanoma cases in African American patients are diagnosed after the cancer has already spread to the lymph nodes. Basal and squamous cell carcinomas are two of the most common and treatable forms of skin cancer. 3.3 million Americans were diagnosed with these carcinomas in 2012, the latest year for that statistic. Want to avoid skin cancer? Apply sunscreen year-round and don't get a sunburn. According to one study, your risk of developing melanoma increases by 80% if you experience 5 or more blistering sunburns between 15 years old and 20 years old. And dermatologists remind us we should be using sunscreen with an SPF greater than 30 year-round, even in the wintertime. We may not often get sunburns in January, but damage from the sun's harmful UV rays is still being done to our multiple layers of skin cells, and that damage is cumulative. The more time skin not covered by clothing is exposed to the sun over the course of a lifetime, the greater the chance of developing skin cancer. And joining us now in studio is Dr. Jeanine Downie, a board-certified dermatologist and director of Image Dermatology in New Jersey. So good to have you with us, Dr. Downie.
Very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Linsey.
So let's just start with the sticker shock you see. I was in the drugstore the other day trying to figure out what SPF sunscreen I wanted. There was some near like $100. Is this a case of you get what you pay for, or it's not necessary to buy those fancy brands?
So some of the fancy brands are necessary, but first of all, you need to wear an SPF of 30 or above. So we just need to get that clear right away. And an SPF of 30 gives you about 97% protection from the sun's rays. And then an SPF of 45 gives you about 98% protection from the sun's rays. And after that, it all kind of starts to level out. So you don't necessarily need an SPF of 100. But to your point, the more expensive sunblocks block what we're looking for, which is blocking UVA, UVB, right? Those cause cancer and cause premature aging, but they also block HIVL. Some of them, high energy visible light. That's that blue light from your phone, computer, Apple Watch, iPad, all of that. The light here in the studio right now. And then they block infrared, which is heat. Getting in a hot car, opening a hot oven. Those are examples of infrared heat, and that can also pigment your skin, and that can also prematurely age your skin.
Wow, so I thought it was just going outside the sun that was a danger,
no,
but it's all
inside and outside every single day.
So even if you're inside your house all day, still put the SPF on?
Absolutely, after you brush your teeth in the morning. So I go ahead and turn my phone on, I brush my teeth, and I don't look at my phone until I have sunscreen on my face, because I don't want all that blue light aggravating my face.
What do you look for as a dermatologist when you're looking at all the bottles? What do you want to make sure that it says?
Okay, so I like oxybenzone and I like avobenzone. So those are two that I really like because those are in chemical sunscreens. So that'll rub in. I like the micronized zinc or titanium dioxide because I need it to rub into my skin. I don't like it to lay on the surface. So the physical lays on the surface of your skin. The chemical gets absorbed into your skin, and then it absorbs and the heat reflects out.
Oh, so when I go running and I have my face all white, lathered up with the
I
mineral,
like that. That's what I do
okay?
too. That's because we're running.
Okay.
We're running. We've already got husbands, so we're not looking looking to be cute.
Good.
So that's okay. But right now, of course, my sunscreen had to be all rubbed in to come into the studio.
Okay,
you know?
Makes sense. There are a lot of people who think maybe it's a misnomer, but perhaps, oh, I have browner skin, I'm good, I don't need the extra SPF.
Thank you. That's not true. So in melanin, if you're really dark-skinned West African, SPF of 13 at best. If you're really light-skinned Norwegian, SPF of only 4. You and I are probably somewhere around a 7, which really does not protect you. It really honestly needs to be a 30 or above. And then you think about the skin cancer rates. The 5-year survival rate for African Americans for melanoma is only 70% because we're underdiagnosed and not treated as fast, whereas for Caucasian Americans, it's about 94%. That's a significant disparity.
I'm feeling really bad about myself because I did not put SPF. I thought it was going to rain today, and I know it's still the cloudy.
77% of the sun's rays penetrate through the clouds.
It still matters. I understand that, but what I tell myself every once in a while, and I know I'm wrong, so you can correct me here on national television. Vitamin D, we know, is a good thing that we get from sunlight.
Anti-carcinogenic, absolutely great.
So if every once in a while you happen to get that sun without the sunscreen, that's still not good?
No.
Okay.
You can have oily fishes, you can have a balanced diet, you can take a vitamin D supplement because it helps heart health, bone health, it helps in terms of fighting cancer, literally. So vitamin D is super important. But, you don't have to, and plus you don't have sunscreen on your legs right now. So even if you put it on your face, you didn't put it on your legs, so you're still
other
getting
body
it.
parts.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. There are a lot of people we see on social media, TikTok, making their own sunscreen. You don't like
Again,
this?
thank you. I always say just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good for you. Poison ivy's natural, for God's sakes. It doesn't mean it's good for you. So I tell people no. There's no protection using your own sunscreen. You're going to cause yourself to have more skin cancers and more photoaging. So that's a no.
But I think that their fear is that there are chemicals, perhaps, in some of the sunscreens. Is there any truth to that, that there are some we maybe should avoid?
Octinoxate is one of them that some people say might be an endocrine disruptor, which can, maybe interfere with your hormones or mimic your hormones. Quite frankly, the phthalates in plastics, like drinking from a plastic water bottle, are far more in terms of endocrine disruptors or hormone disruptors. So these really need to be studied more, and the jury is still out on them. So I say, go ahead and wear the sunblock and protect yourself from skin cancer, because more than 5 sunburns in the course of your life doubles your risk of getting a melanoma, regardless, again, of your ethnicity.
And just lastly, before we go, you said you put it on, the sunscreen on, after you brush your teeth. Do you reapply then?
Yeah, because then I go and I exercise, and then I come back up and I take a shower, and then I put more sunblock on before I walk out the door. So the only time I don't have sunblock on is when I'm sleeping and when I'm showering.
All right,
and the best sunblock is the one you wear. So I want your viewers to take that away. The best sunscreen for you is the one that you're going to wear and reapply.
All right. Dr. Jeanine Downie, we thank you so much. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.